Hello and welcome to Cloud Force Vibes. My name's Bobby, and this is how I grow orchids and carnivorous plants. Hello and welcome to Cloud Force Vibes. Today I have a very exciting video for you guys. I have some new blooms, I have lots of spikes, growth, everything to talk about. So we're going to have a nice look around inside the tent today, and I am also going to probably stop over at the tank for just a few minutes, even though I want to do a whole separate video looking around stuff in there. It's been a while. So without further ado, here we go. We are going to get right in here and we are going to start this off by looking at a very special new bloom. So we are going to start this off with one of my favorite cattleyas wobbling here in the wind. This is Brassia Jipi, and I have two beautiful blooms this season. I've let this plant bloom. I gave you a little bit of a sneak peek of this guy at the last care collab I did for Laelia pumila, and it is a not very strong plant, but it is starting to get there. It's put out these two relatively healthy but small growths and a flush of roots this last season. So I am probably not going to let these blooms go to the full, distance or whatever. They're not going to make it as long as they would. I might cut them off actually sometime in the next couple days, but I am very, very excited. Oop, let me get focused. Very excited again to be able to show you guys this and share this with you because it's a gorgeous plant. Color changer. The petals and sepals really go white after a few weeks, and it is very, very long lived. I do not have no fragrance on them this time. They usually do have a light fragrance, kind of floral, but not this time. Nice big blooms, healthy, happy, good colors, and I just had to share this with you guys. Again, one of my favorites. I've almost gotten rid of this plant before. It really was a big orchid I got from Odom's Orchids. I left it in the pot. It had gravel or something like that in it, and it just stayed too moist. I crushed the roots, I rotted the rhizome, everything went wrong. So I took it out. I grew it on this mount with moss. It didn't do well. I took it out, I put it in a basket with large bark. It didn't do well. And finally I put it back on this mount, bare rooted, and it is seemingly pretty happy. It gets highlight. It hangs up here on the back side of my Spanish moss that you guys saw, and it is right underneath one of my grow lights. Anyhow, while it bobs away, I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way, and we will dive in and look at some more awesome stuff. So let me get in here and turn this mist off. There we go. This monster is my Brassia Jipi japensis, and this plant has a big facelift coming. It is in really good shape. It seems like moving it up here made it really happy. So I've got a growth, I've got another growth from a back bulb, which is awesome. I've got another back bulb growth here, another one on the side of that, and another one over there. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new growths total on this already massive plant. I posted a picture of myself with this thing on Instagram. I'll throw it up here somewhere. Pretty awesome picture to show you just how big this plant truly is. It has a shelf basically all on its own. It is sitting right next to my equipment because I just don't have another place for it. It used to hang down there. It was hanging up here. It was hanging, all over, and it just took up too much space. So it earned its own shelf, and it's finally growing pretty nicely, but this plant does have a big facelift coming in the near future. You guys will like it. Anyhow, scrolling down a bit, we are going to take a look at some of this stuff down here. Now, I'm right in the wind, so forgive me, it probably sounded terrible. These are some Draculas that I have. This is our Dracula Gaskeliana back here, and it's throwing out multiple spikes at the moment, but I really wanted to take a look at this. This plant here is the newest Dracula to my collection. This is Dracula andreatea. I got this from Andy's Orchids not too long ago, and as you see, it's pushing on some really strong, healthy new growths, and more importantly, if you look down here in the moss, I've got not one, but two flower spikes. One is far more advanced than the other, but 2 flower spikes coming on that Dracula, and I could not be more excited. This thing has a really, really neat, big bloom. The Gaskeliana, while we're here, is doing well as well. It's got multiple spikes on it. I've got at least 3 spikes coming. One is very, very advanced, and the other 2 are just getting going, but it's producing new roots, new growths, and this is probably one of my healthier Draculas. It just loves the spot that it's in, and I have never moved it and don't think I will ever move it. Anyhow, time to move on to some other spikes. This plant here, it looks kind of sad right now, and it kind of is. It started to drop the foliage from the older growth. I don't know if that's normal, so if you guys know anything about Ionopsis utricularoides, please let me know. I did see a couple spider mites on this thing, I hate to say, so I gave it a spray with some Bio Advanced this morning. I'm hoping that that doesn't affect the plant, because it is a systemic, so I'm hoping that if it is getting bit by something that they die a horrible, horrible death. But the good news is this new growth here is a little bit sad looking, but it has an awesome flower spike coming. It's got at least 1 or 2 branches and lots of potential for buds. These spikes can be amazingly big with lots and lots of flowers, so I will be holding my breath a little bit and hoping that we get a really good show from that. Really, really beautiful. Speaking of really beautiful, I do have more big news in the way of spikes. This little guy right here is my first orchid. So it is just a standard little run-of-the-mill mini Phalaenopsis, but I am so excited because I haven't seen these blooms in over a year, and the plant is healthy and happy. I've got these 2 Phalaenopsis in pots. This is the only, quote-unquote normal or epiphytic kind of phal growing in a pot, and this is Phal pulchurima, which is a terrestrial, so that one's going to stay in a pot no matter what. Just have to figure out how to keep it happy. Anyhow, one of the reasons I'm talking about that is these are part of my media experiments, and I've got them in cocoa husk with some large bark, perlite, and charcoal, and it is going phenomenally well. One of them's growing a spike, one of them's got this new growth going, and this one I think was getting attacked by bugs as well, so I treated this with a systemic, and it did cause a little bit of damage, I think. I believe I saw this on Roger's channel when he used his Bayer or whatever he's got. I've got the American, version of that. Basically it's called Bio Advanced, and I think that is what caused some of this leaf damage. If you look through it from the back side at the light, you can really see it. I will try to post a picture if I remember to take it, and if not, you'll just have to take my word for it. So see these little spots all over. Let me zoom in there. That, I believe, was caused by the Bio Advanced. So it didn't take the plant down all the way. The roots are still doing their thing, even though a couple of them did stop and get a little burny look to them. But overall, again, it's a happy plant. It's growing on, and I'm hoping this one grows free of any issues. Here we have our little Orangus punctata that I got from Daryl Adams not very long ago, and this thing came and almost immediately started pushing out a spike. Now, I have a picture of this, but not fully open because for whatever reason, it only lasted for a day. I saw it the night before. It was too dark to take a photo. I came in here in the morning. It looked like it was starting to close, so I took a little quick picture of it, and by the next day, it had shriveled. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a first-time bloomer thing. Maybe it's because it got too much air movement. This thing is kind of in the line of fire of my new circulating fan, so that could have something to do with it. But unfortunately, we all missed looking at this one together. I'll throw the picture up that I do have. It is really cool, and I'm just going to hope that next year I don't miss it. Anyhow, moving down again, over here, this is my Dendrocylum grossa, and that is an awesome looking little plant. It's a really great miniature. I think we looked at this not too long ago, but the spikes are advancing quickly. I do have 7 spikes on this plant, so I think it's going to put on quite a show for a miniature. Even though the flowers are tiny, there's going to be tons and tons of them, maybe even 100 or more. So that is awesome. It's good news. I didn't really like Dendrocylums at first when I first started growing, but I got this one to try to give the genus a chance, and they did really grow on me. I think that when they're mounted and all of their spikes kind of go in the same direction pendulously, I think they become really beautiful plants, and they can put on quite a show. I can't wait for years to come and get this thing even bigger and have even more spikes. 7 is really, really good. I think I had 4 the first time. So that's that. I gotta move some things so I can get deeper in here, because we do have more new blooms that we've got to check out. So, working our way into the jungle a bit, this is my Encyclia tampinsis, and right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I thought there was 7, nope, 6 buds that have opened up, 6 flowers, I mean. I've got 1 more to come here, and I have a whole nother spike back here that has yet to open. So looking like it's going to be the best showing yet from this plant, and I couldn't be more excited. They have a nice little sweet fragrance. I just saw Justin with the Alba variety of this on his channel, which is really neat. You guys go check him out. I can't remember what video that is, but if I can find it, I will put a link up to that. Might have been on Instagram too. I'm not exactly sure, but I know Justin's Orchids just posted the Alba version of this, and this is the regular variety. Beautiful little plant, native United States epiphytic orchid, which I love and I cannot get enough of. So strongest blooming yet, and this is the 2nd time this has bloomed this year. So the plant is getting stronger. That's the plant over there. I've got it mounted up. Probably in need of a moss update. I will do that here shortly, probably before the winter season, and go from there. And oh my goodness, look at that. That is another spike. So we've got 1, 2, 3 spikes coming on this. One is far behind the others. I'm not sure if that's going to make it. It's about to get kind of cool in here in the next few weeks, but still neat nonetheless. Our Brassivola regina is still in bloom. This is week 2, almost week 3. Again, they are very long-lived, very happy bloomers when they do. And this right here is my spike from the Brassivola subulifolia. Now, one of the buds is blasted. I hate to say it, but it looks like the other 4 are going to hang in there. So I'm hoping that's the case, and we should see those here in the not too distant future. Once they get to this stage, it doesn't take very long, maybe another week or so. But that is the plant back there. It's a big one. It hangs down quite a ways, and it is very happy. It usually lives over directly in the corner there in the window, but since I've upgraded my lighting, I've moved all my Brassivola types up to give them a chance to kind of grow pendulously, except for my Bill spots here, which is also worth mentioning. That's the one that Justin gave me from Justin's Orchids, and this plant is an absolute maniac. Look at that thing. It's only been on this mount for a little over a month, and it's just already taking it over. I really love this orchid. Justin, thank you so much again. I cannot thank you enough. Let's see. Gotta take this next one down. So this little guy here, that is my new Barcaria palmeri from Tarzan, and much to my surprise, this thing threw up a spike, and as you see, the spike is getting pretty well advanced. So we should see blooms on this in the not too distant future, as long as these spikes hang in there, and I really, really hope they do. These blooms are so darn cool. I cannot wait. This little plant right here is the division of Oncidium Schirriphorum that Daryl sent me, and I am extremely pleased to say this thing is throwing up 2 spikes. Now, being a small division, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that yet. I'm thinking about cutting one of the spikes and letting the other one bloom, because I just really want to see these blooms. But I also really want the plant to be strong, so I'm debating what to do. If you guys have any advice, please throw me a comment down in the comment section and let me know what you think I should do with this orchid. Either way, I love it. This is one of the parents of the Twinkles, and it has awesome yellow blooms. The coolest one I've seen, I believe, is Lynn Smith's. Hers is like awarded. It's really great. It blooms very, very vigorously, so check hers out on her channel, and you get to see this orchid in its finest for sure. Now over here we have my Dendrobium rotostictum, which we have looked at a few times, and I am sure we are going to keep doing over and over until these blooms fade, which is going to be a long time from now, hopefully. They are remarkably long-lived, usually several months, and right now they are still looking beautiful and fresh as can be. I posted some really good pictures of this on Instagram, so and Facebook as well, so if you guys want to see some nice shots of this, please go check those out. and our second spike today has just started to open up its first bloom. So these will be around for quite a while. We will circle back. I'm thinking about doing a spotlight video on this plant. If anybody grows these and wants to do a care collab, please reach out. I know that Roger has one. I'm not sure if he'd be willing to do a collab. Maybe I'll try to reach out to him, but I'm not sure who else grows this awesome orchid. So anybody who's watching this, any other YouTubers, if you do grow Dendrobium rotostictum, please let me know. I would love to do a spotlight video on this, or a care collab. So now our next new bloom is on a relatively new plant. This is my Solangina in cresada that Michael McCarthy had suggested that I get from In Situ Orchids, and I am pleased to say that the spike did hang in there and we have our first bloom. Let me get in closer. This is another one of those blooms that the camera just does not do justice to, but it's peachy, kind of rusty colored with some white. It's very, very, very sparkly, and it's somewhat translucent as well. Just depends on how you look at it. It's got this awesome little orange and white lip, and it is just a charming, charming little bloom. I do not have a fragrance right now, at least, but again, this is only its first day being open, and I really am in love. This is my first Solangina to bloom. I have several others I've added to my collection this year. I've got this thing growing in a coconut husk mix with some bark in this basket, and as you see, the roots are doing fantastic. It really is a happy plant, and it has some really awesome foliage, guys. These rusty green colored leaves just really do it for me, even when it's not in bloom. And I believe they are sequential bloomers, so the little spike that you see down below the flower is going to keep going, and it should just keep producing bloom after bloom after bloom. Love this little plant. Thanks again, Michael, for putting this thing on my radar. Now, zooming past that, we have the very first spike of my Oncidium Twinkle. Let me see, this is Red Fantasy, I believe. I have to look it up. I will put it on the screen. I apologize. I cannot really reach it right now. I have to go through all these plants to get to it. So I believe this is Twinkle Red Fantasy, and it is beautiful. My fragrance in the greenhouse right now is strictly that plant. If you get close to the Encyclia tampinsis, you get some of that as well. The Molina over here behind me, because I'm standing closer to that, I can kind of smell that, but let me tell you, the Twinkle overpowers just about everything else in here with a lovely, lovely sweet fragrance. Beautiful little blooms. Again, I'll get close with some pictures, and I will throw some pictures up of this so you can get a better look, but we'll be looking at it again once the other spike it has. Oh my gosh, 1, 2. I might have 2 more spikes. That's great, but it definitely has at least one more that is coming along, and we will definitely take a look at it here in the near future, hopefully all together. I guess since I mentioned it, I'm not going to get out of here without showing this little guy off. Molina, this is the other plant, the new bloom on it, and it is still hanging in there. Again, the fragrance isn't so strong. Maybe it's the first time blooming factor of this, or sometimes maybe it's the cooler temps, but it is still very, very beautiful, and I'm still eager to see this side by side with its cousin over here once it decides to bloom again. So unfortunately, our Laelia harpophylla did drop its first bloom, but this is the second bloom, and we have another spike coming with a bloom that is going to be open in the next few days. So I will get more into this plant here very soon. There's care collab plans for this plant on the very near horizon, and we will talk more about it at that time. So the real reason we're over here in this corner is this gorgeous plant right here. This is my Dendrobium violaceum blue that I got from Tarzan not too long ago, and I am very happy to say I have 1, 2, 3 sets of spikes coming along on this. The spikes are short, the buds kind of push just out of the top of the canes, and that is all I'm going to say. We are not even going to take a closer look at that yet, because I'm just going to wait for these to open. This is hopefully my first close to blue bloom, and I am very, very excited. So that plant's also probably going to get its own spotlight, and I would love to do a care collab if anybody else out there grows this. I know Todd does, and I'm not sure who else might be crazy enough to try to grow it. So anyhow, if you do, let me know. That's another one I would love to get together with folks and collab on. Down here we've got more big Dendrobium news. This is my Dendrobium Hemi melanoglossum, and yes, it is supposed to look like that. It is that time of year. Lots and lots of my Dendrobiums and other deciduous plants are starting to drop leaves. That is not a sign of bad health. It's just what this does. And if you look down at the tip, you'll see that. And that, my friends, is the first spike off of this orchid this year. So these are really neat, awesome yellow and almost black blooms. And this will just hang and dangle and hopefully have, 12 to 25 blooms like it did last time. Awesome little Dendrobium. And finally, we have this little gem. This is the Myrmicophola, let me see, Myrmicophola albopurpurea that I got from the Tarzan group earlier this season. And I mounted it, and believe it or not, this is the new growth that was on it at the time. It grows very, very fast. This growth is plump and bigger than anything else on it. And I'm not sure, because I do not know this species or genus very well, but I will say that if you look down in here, it's got this little red button. I believe, hopefully, that is the beginning of a spike. I don't know if this thing sheathes. I believe the spikes just push directly out the top. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. I know Michael McCarthy will. And hopefully anybody else out there who knows a little bit better than I. This is another new genus for me, so really, really eager to see this thing bloom. It has really awesome flowers, so that is another thing to come. So forgive me guys, I totally lied. We are not going to look at the tank today. I am going to make that its entirely own video. This got a little bit long. My apologies, but I do have, again, so much to talk about and show you guys. And I wanted to make sure we took a look at just about everything. There's some more stuff going on that I didn't include. I think sometimes surprises are better, but trust me, we have lots of cool orchid blooms and awesome other stuff in store for you guys here in the next few update videos. So, as always, thank you so much for watching and being a part of my channel. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, please stay safe and happy growing.